Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. I am thrilled to be sharing the stage this morning with three leaders who are at the heart of the technology strategy for their organizations. Fernando Castro, Alex Goldblum, and Ian. Thank you. Welcome. Each of your companies is going through a digital evolution, meaning your role has become more complex, more dynamic. You're being asked to not only support technology, but drive business transformation. You're constantly balancing cybersecurity, cost management, and the adoption of new technologies like the cloud and analytics. The three of you have played a key role in shaping how your organizations leverage technology to stay competitive and meet your customer expectations. Let's discuss for a little bit this morning what challenges you faced, what are some of the critical success factors that you guys have used to get and address those, and maybe a little bit of a glance of what's coming next. So, Fernando, good morning, welcome. Itaú is hitting its 100th birthday, is that correct?
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Itaú has been at the forefront of the transformation within credit in the banking industry. And what has that meant, and you have a new system called One Itaú, what has that meant to your business, and what has that meant to the architecture of how you deliver it?
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad for being here. One Itaú is how we bring customer centricity to life. Our goal for the future is being recognized as one of the most customer-centric banks in the world. So let me share our starting point before. We are one of the most largest bank in Latin America. We have over 7 million customers in Brazil. So we have decades of code, platforms that we had running on mainframe. And we also grew based on some merger and acquisitions. So we have customers that came from another banks, running in another platforms. Then we decided to achieve this goal, create a massive digital transformation program. The first step, we changed the way of working. So we moved for a fully waterfall development product to agile at scale. So now we are organized in communities. We have tech and business teams working together, sharing the OKRs, and responsible for the evolution for each platform. The second step, we decided to move from our mainframe legacy systems to the cloud. Today, we are running 60% of our platforms in the cloud, and by 2028, we will get there with 100%, which means that we have our North Star also, as FICO has, and every team should make your business services available to the entire company. So then other communities can use common functions across the bank, and that's make this reusable very efficient. And is a way to see the customer just one customer. Then we had at least 5 mobile apps to our customers with different value propositions. Then we decided to create the One Itaú, bringing all customers to just one super app, offering all of our products and services, and even beyond banking services. We reached this year 15 million running on this new platform. And we look at the credit scenario, we had the same. 7 different applications running, decisions every day, but decisions in a product-oriented view. So we couldn't not see the customer as just one person that has its needs. And then we decide with FICO, move to just one layer. We used to have big decisions, batch-based, with low frequency. Now we have just one layer with high frequency and micro decisions running across every journey, every customer journey in our channels. Which means that at the past, we took 6 days to establish a new credit policy. Now we spend 5 days. We used to make 50 business changes per month. Now we do 500. And this helped us to achieve this customer-centric view.
The volume of customers, the number of use cases that you just talked about, I mean, that seems like it could be pretty demanding, like to the data and complexity with it. Talk a little bit about how that approach and what demands did it place on how you guys manage data.
That's a great question because we saw a lot of presentations here. We saw the FICO vision for the future, and everybody is walking on the right way. But at the end of the day, data is core for any journey.
Part of it.
At Itaú, we decided to create a principle that says that every data for every platform that should be available on our data mesh. Then another teams and another platforms can use and access this data. Today, we achieve 50% of this data available in our data mesh. We train a lot of data scientists, data engineers, prepare the leadership to understand how to get value from data. And this is helping us to understand better our customers. Now, our main challenge, given our history, it's how we move from some data that are available with 1 or 2 day delays for a real-time data, and how can we share data, for example, as we saw yesterday, data coming from card transactions that used by fraud, to understand the behavior and the customer life moment, and how can we make correct decisions and talk with our customers, offering the best option for him at that time. So we believe that data is core in our strategy.
Fantastic.
Before, I'd just like to say that Itaú, as my shirt says, is made of the future. And I'd like to say thank you to our team that's here today.
No, I'll join you. Thank you. Thank you, Fernando. Alex, before Ignacio's demonstration, we saw a great video that you had done for Nationwide. One of my favorite things I heard in it, and I'll paraphrase a bit, but as I'm flying into Heathrow, all the houses I see, 1 in 6 of them is a Nationwide mortgage. Yep. That's an amazing, amazing accomplishment. With that kind of presence in so many people's life, how do you help ensure that technology is still a key enabler of that trust that they're putting in you?
Yeah, thanks, Mike, and thanks for the invitation. This is my first FICO World. It's been fantastic so far. We always say at Nationwide, one of our values is feel what the customer feels, and make that ever present in all of the work you do, whether you're dealing with somebody at the teller or whether you're doing technology work. So, again, like I said in the video, how does the customer feel? Well, they'll feel a bit nervous. That's the single biggest purchase that most people are going to make in their lives. This is the place you're going to live. Post-COVID, it might be the place you're going to work. You might bring up your family there. How do you address that need that the customer has emotionally for transparency of the decision that's made? Can you explain why you said yes? Can you explain why you might have said no, unfortunately? The customer is busy, right? How do you deliver this at pace? If the customer is applying for a mortgage, how do you make that a matter of days before they've got their approval to proceed? If they've got a credit card, they need you to address that request for an increase in limit in real time, not in the post. And then the other aspect of this as well is, we want to make it frictionless, but at certain times we want to make sure that the customer feels safe and that the friction, if it needs to be there, is introduced at the right time.
You say the customer feels safe. I mean, obviously, that means security in a lot of cases for them. That means modernization of what you get. You're modernizing, you're securing this technology. You guys chose the FICO and the FICO platform specifically to help you do that. Can you talk a little bit about, what's been the impact of that?
Yeah, and look, I mean, I joined Nationwide 7 years ago. We've been working with FICO for maybe 10, 15 years in total. When I joined, the bulk of the conversations were about infrastructure. And if I had a conversation with our chief product owner, who you saw on screen, to be frank, I often had to disappoint him to say, look, we've got to do this program to update our servers or our software, et cetera. The need to do that in terms of choosing FICO platform has gone away. You guys are doing that because that is what you do brilliantly, in addition to obviously providing all the capability and functionality. What we want to do as a bank and a building society is to focus on our customers and on our propositions and such like. So it's taken that away. If we wanted to update a scorecard or a decision tree, that was an IT-driven process. It's now a business-driven process. It's 50% quicker than it used to be. If I want to deploy a new strategy, again, it's a business process. There is no, get somebody to write some Java and deploy it onto the platform. That's done by our credit risk team, and that's 30% quicker than it would have been in the past. So let the people who are the experts deal with the infrastructure and the platform, focus on what you do best. It's a specialization play at the end of the day.
Yeah, fantastic. Now that you've seen the potential, kind of what's next? What are you guys looking at?
Yeah, so as I said, there's propositional changes that we've got in the pipeline. Those are to do with our core Nationwide business. So for example, we'll be relaunching an interest-only mortgage to our customers this year. We'll be launching a proposition for people who are building their own houses. And in the UK market, there is a chronic undersupply of housing, and that is a concern that's called out, particularly for first-time borrowers. So we're looking through our machine learning models at the margins. Where could we lend a little bit more? So we'll be using MLX as a platform to enable that. And again, for those of you who are able to attend Matthew Jones's presentation yesterday, you can see the customer benefit. To be frank, you can see a revenue benefit for Nationwide in terms of having that platform capability. The other thing we're doing, which I think is quite new globally, is we're going to use the FICO platform for the other side of property lending, which is property risk. So again, you get the credit decision in days, but the property risk piece takes a long time. FICO platform is going to help us. And then the final thing is Nationwide, back in October last year, acquired a company called Virgin Money, which has taken our customer base from the 17 million that I quoted in the video to around about 24 million, but has also opened up business banking, business lending, et cetera. Direction of travel is to bring those onto FICO platform. So use the platform more, use it in different ways, but ultimately deliver value into our customers.
I love it. You hold different parts of the business, acquisitions bringing in, the platform helping enable all that. It's fantastic stuff. So
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex.
Can I have one final word? Because Fernando did it.
Please.
There are some Nationwide guys in the audience here. Thank you so much for your work. And thank you to FICO for working with us.
No, fantastic. Thank you. Annie, good morning. Welcome to FICO World. We've been working side by side now, for a bit, getting TD moved onto the FICO platform. At times, the two of us in front of a whiteboard, looking at design options or dealing with operational complexities. Talk a little bit about, what were some of the keys to successfully addressing those complexity risks?
Thank you, Mike, for having me. This is my third FICO World, so really excited
Love
to be
to
here.
Have you back always.
Thank you. And talking about complexity, I think one of the biggest decisions TD made about a couple years ago is to start partnership with FICO and looking into helping our customer, protecting them, protecting our business. So it is a really complex ecosystem. As two of you also mentioned, the banking industry has been very complex. You have a lot of historical debts, tech debt that we have to deal with. So I think one of the biggest areas is that we were able to design together. So looking at FICO as one of the components within the broader TD ecosystem, that's really critical to our success. We're not looking at it as another separate components, but we're actually tightly integrating it into our overall ecosystem. That design actually allows us to think about stability and integratability, componentry, how do we orchestrate way better than two separate entities. And that is, I think I would say that would be part of the key success we were being able to achieve, like looking at the entire processing end to end, right? We were able to reduce this from minutes to sub-minutes, and which is really significant and critical from a payments fraud rail perspective, application fraud perspective, and those are critical to meet our business goal.
You said design. I know one of the key design requirements you guys looked at was the reusability of some of the componentry or the assets on the platform. How is that playing out for you guys? Are you seeing that value?
And that's a great question. And so we do use FICO from both in our US business as well as our Canadian business. Our TD is quite large across both sides of the border, north of 10 million customers on each side of the border. And we do often see trends that are happening in the market. The bad actors will do something very similar to our US business versus our Canadian business. And the beauty of that is that we're sitting on the same platform. We can easily address both sides of this threats. It's just deploy on both sides in parallel. And I think we're going to be seeing more and more the reusability. I think Jen Weber yesterday at the opening was talking about the fact that we also have a credit profile now sitting on top of FICO, and we're going to see more synergy about leveraging credit decisions and fraud decisions on the same profile, and that allows us to reduce the friction, at the same time address risk where we're seeing the synergy between both sides.
That's fantastic. I mean, you're talking about the different parts of TD that are working together. I talked about, obviously, it wasn't just them and us working together. It was TD and FICO working together as partners to do this. Talk a little bit about that operating model and what has it meant to your success?
Absolutely, and I'm really proud that we are able to do one TD and FICO together, and it's amazing to see the entire offshore center. You were sitting with them in India, sitting with our Toronto office, rolling out the platform. It was a 48 hours intense cycle, but this is not a one-off. I've seen the team sitting right next to each other solving the problems from data mapping, validation, to how do we make sure we have blue-green deployments and where we see complexity of compiling, the teams are side by side. Like that operating model is one of the key of the success, that we're feeling the pain of each other and then we grow together, we solve the problem as one team.
Yeah, we talk about the platform a lot and the technologies and the features, functions, but it's actually platform as a service, right? And it's all of the other pieces, the support, that make it a service that I think it's part of what we deliver as part of the product. So Fernando, Alex, Annie, thank you for sharing your experience, your expertise with us here this morning. I've been happy to be part of the journey that each of you have been on with the platform and looking forward to continuing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Lights go down.